Get the microphone first, shall we? So yesterday, Yvonne and I laid here and watched Passengers, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. I hadn't watched it before. She hadn't watched it before. We picked it up a little ways into the movie. I didn't think it mattered because we picked up what was going on pretty quick. I can see why the movie made money, because Jennifer Lawrence is gorgeous and Chris Pratt is a very likable guy who is handsome to the ladies. And there was great special effects. The story made no sense. At the end, as I'm watching, and Yvonne and I kept saying, no. No, no, no. No. And it recalls The Martian that I finally watched a few weeks ago, starring Matt Damon. And there seems to be this thing going on with science fiction right now in Hollywood. So they get this great idea for a movie. Okay, we're going to have Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, and it's going to be this romantic science fiction movie where they're wakened up during this 120-year journey to another planet, and they'll fall in love while everybody else is still in suspended animation. Okay. We've got this movie. Matt Damon is going to be stranded on Mars, and he's going to have to wait years for them to come back and get him. Okay. Matt Damon's a botanist. He's going to be able to create his own plants there, and he's going to be able to create a greenhouse using the most disgusting means possible, but he'll do it. Okay. Chris Pratt's going to be lonely. He's going to wake Jennifer Lawrence up, and that'll be the source of tension, in that he woke her up and denied her a life she could have had on the new planet they were going to. Okay. Got it. Both movies feel pretty good through the first half, and then you can almost feel when a studio executive steps in and goes, wait a minute. We need some kind of a disaster on this ship. Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence can't just have this wonderful journey together. There's got to be this huge thing. And we need these big explosions. And we need this really crazy special effects sequence that doesn't make any sense when you think about it. But hey, it's going to be great. Well, yeah, Matt Damon done it. That's fine and everything. But, you know, we've got to figure out some big some big climax, some huge thing to happen where he's like in space and he's flying, hurtling through space with no spaceship. And can they? No. No. It's bad when I hear characters saying what we should do, and they try to mention it in a scientific terminology, and I listen and I go, no, nuh-uh, no, no. It's then that I'm watching a movie and I usually say, physics called and said no. But in recent episodes I've watched of Mystery Science Theater, they say, screw you, physics. Take that, physics. So, you know, I don't say that as much as I used to because, yeah, it's a known thing that physics don't matter in movies. It's one of the most frustrating things to me. It's like when I watch a Roland Emmerich film, and I'm watching 2012, or I'm watching The Day After Tomorrow, and I watch the science, and I'm like, the science is dead in this. There's no science in this. It's just all special effects. And what I don't understand is, Hollywood could do a really good, realistic movie about Matt Damon on Mars, and end it in a realistic term. But they want that big action sequence. Crowds won't go and watch it if there's this big action sequence. Sure they will. They've done it before. Oh, you've got Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. You've got to put some big thing in there. That way the movie costs $110 million. And then after you factor in advertising and everything else, you'll barely make any kind of a dent in it with your profits. The movie makes $300 million. And was it a success? Mildly. Would it ever get a sequel? Can't. Thankfully, it can't. In the case of both movies, both The Martian and Passengers, you have got this grand storyline that's set up, and then at the end they go, and then it's over. There you go. Good job, everybody. It's done. Really? You worked us all up for an hour and a half for that? That's the ending? That's it? That's it. That's the ending. You're choosing there as the end point. And I don't understand it, because I really think science fiction can be really good. You don't have to have this huge, big science. Like, there could have been a psychological thriller element to Passengers. All you have to do is make it so that when Jennifer Lawrence figures out that Chris Pratt was creepy and watching her and stalking her, that you have this blow up, which happens, but then you expand on it. You expand on both characters. You go into why he felt that way, and you go into her having him explain why he was so lonely, and then either they come back together or they don't. The brave decision would have been for Lawrence to say, this is my end of the ship, that's your end of the ship, I don't want anything to do with you. Now, I know people are going to say, well, it wouldn't have made as much money. Wouldn't have cost as much money either. And the biggest problem I had with Passengers is when the ship starts malfunctioning, they don't care. This huge malfunction happens, and I'm like, oh, something's going to happen. And no, they don't even pay attention to it. There's a part where Jennifer Lawrence says, well, I had 2 days I couldn't get out of my room. And I thought, well, wouldn't psycho stalker Chris Pratt have noticed that she wasn't around for 48 hours? Wouldn't he have gone to investigate? How did she get out of her room? What was the problem? They didn't show us. Much like the Star Wars prequels, all the stuff that sounds cool was off screen. You fell into that nest of Gundark's master. Show us that. Show us all the times Anakin Skywalker saved Obi-Wan's life. Show us their adventures. No, we're just going to have them sitting on a couch. Alright. In this movie, well, we're going to talk about the more interesting stuff in flashback, which would not have been more expensive than the scenes they threw in for action. Even the Martian. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it already, but after the big climax, they just go to, oh, here's Matt Damon. Alright, he's a teacher now. Couldn't you guys have shown some more of what happened after the big climactic scene? Something? Anything? No? They're in such a hurry to give us this big Hollywood finish that they forget that movies are supposed to follow a pattern. And The Martian is a movie that follows this nice, slow, gentle pace. And then all of a sudden, kaboomy, and then nothing. Passengers, nothing, quiet, romantic, sweet, Jennifer Lawrence is hot, wonderful, Jennifer Lawrence is hot again. And then kaboom! And then throw crap at the screen, because we don't know how to end this now. Like, the big problem they had with the ship, I didn't see that they necessarily fixed it for 90 years. 90 years is a long time to assume that WD-40, which is what it looks like he was spraying in one scene, the WD-40 is going to hold a hull together. Like, it just seems like a long time. They're flying through space at half the speed of light. There'd be a lot of stress on that hull, but it's fine. And over the next 90 years, nothing happens. Like, it just... And it didn't make any sense. Like, I looked at all the stuff that was breaking down all over the ship, and it was random. It was random. And then when they explain what actually is wrong with the ship, I'm like, wait, that doesn't explain why all that stuff's happening at all. Not in the slightest. So, you got good actors, you get great budgets, great special effects, and then the script at the end just kind of ruins it. Let me know what you guys think. Passengers, Martian. 2 movies that I really enjoyed, and then the ending killed both of them. So let me know if I'm right or wrong. And I know people feel that way about Interstellar as well. Don't feel bad about saying that about Interstellar, because I liked Interstellar a lot, but yeah, the ending's kind of heavy-handed and hammy. And doesn't make any real sense when you think about it. They don't have to do this with science fiction. Pay more attention to the science, a little less to the fiction, and you'll have fantastic movies. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon.